All right, let's talk about the number 9 overall pick, the first pick that the Seahawks had in the Russell Wilson trade, of which they've now had several picks from that trade. Charles Cross, who I think it's fair to say had an up and down rookie season. His was not a disaster. I think, I think about a couple other players that, like Kenyon Green, who was picked at number 15 overall, Evan Neal, who was picked before Cross at number 7 overall. Those guys had like really rough rookie seasons that were like concerning, but you hope that they get better as, they get older and things like that, and as they get into the second year, which is totally possible. Cross did not have a great year, but he was not a disaster either. PFF had him rated as the 54th tackle out of 81 eligible tackles, so they kind of had him as a lower tier number 2 tackle, which of course they're hoping that he can be a high tier number 1 tackle. Abraham Lucas also had a great year. He was a 39th according to PFF, so he was considered a really good right tackle in that scenario. Maybe I'll give a film study about him, in the future. But for now, Charles Cross, let's talk about what he did well, what he did poorly, and how he can maybe, go from being a okay tackle to an elite one, potentially. Well, first, let's just talk about what he did well. Like, what's going to happen here, it's going to be, he's going to be part of a double team, but then move up to the second level to make a block at the second level. So that's how this play is designed to work. Also worth noting, the guy who he's supposed to block is Fred Warner at the next level, which is not so easy to do. But watch how he's able to, I think, do his part on that double team. It wasn't that difficult, and I think that that's sometimes good for an offensive lineman to recognize, hey, don't spend forever on it. You got to get up to the next level. Your guard is doing a pretty good job, so let him finish off that block. Just do your part and then get up to block Fred Warner. And he's in position now where he's blocking Fred Warner. He is in position. Now, Warner eventually gets off this block. He actually makes the tackle, but it was pretty far down the field, and I would consider this a positive play from Cross. It was certainly a very good play for him to get up to the next level to block Warner, and then I would say, okay, yes, 8 yards down the field, Fred Warner is eventually going to get loose and make a play. He's Fred Warner. That's what he does, right? You can't expect that to happen. You can't expect him to just completely block him, all day. That's just not how it works. But I would say that was a good play. And again, maybe if you draft a guy number 9 overall, you want him to be able to completely get Fred Warner out of the play. But year 1, I'm not too concerned. We also had stuff like this, where what's going to happen on this play is he's going up against Nick Bosa. And that's why I wanted to show, a lot of tape from this specific game. Going up against San Francisco, has to play a lot of talented edge rushers. So let's talk about what he's going to do on this play. And to me, he's going to do with what he basically, when he was at his best in college, was able to do, which is get the hand placement he wants. And for a left tackle, it's that left hand that's often so important, right? Making sure you get your left hand in the spot where you can, hold the edge rusher, not let him get to the outside of you. And if you can get that hand placement, a lot of times you're going to win. Well, look how, Bosa's so explosive off that line, but still Cross got the hand placement he wants. And once he's there, which he did so consistently in college, he pretty much just always got the hand placement he wanted. And then he has the strength to be able to hold guys off. Watches Bosa, again, does a lot of work. Eventually sort of gets past, Cross, but not until that play was well over, essentially. So that's a great block from Cross. And when he's at his best, this is what he's able to do. Now, going over to a play like this, I think that, in hindsight, there probably should have been sort of an expected learning curve with him because, he's someone who was so good at getting his hands consistently in the right spot that I think sometimes you think, oh, well, then he's going to, go into the NFL right away and be pretty good because he has the hand placement that he wants pretty consistently. He has a technique down. He'll be able to do well technique-wise at the NFL level. But let's talk about this play as an example of maybe why that's not always the case. So right when this play begins, you see that he doesn't quite get the right hand exactly where he would want it to be, right? Typically, he'd have it a little bit further over, and typically his feet would be a little bit further over. It's not terrible, but it's not the ideal scenario. So because of this, the edge rusher is able to get to the outside, and the ball was thrown to dirt earlier, but had that play that went on a little longer, maybe that would have been a sack there from Charles Cross. And these are the kind of little things you just have to learn is how do you play when you don't get the exact hand placement that you want? How do you find ways to still get the guy away from the quarterback, which didn't necessarily, happen a lot with Charles Cross, the way some other tackles who maybe are more used to not having the best hand placement might be a little bit more battle tested in that area. It might have ways to come back after they get themselves a little out of position. So that's probably the area I would say Cross can work on the most. Like, this one's another one, and again, going up against Nick Bosa, who, was considered the best defensive player in football last year. That's what he was voted, right? Defensive player of the year. So, definitely someone who there is no shame in losing against, but still, watch what happens. Right when this play begins, you see how Cross, again, with that left arm, gets it extended to the point where he's trying to get it onto the right shoulder pad area of Nick Bosa on this play. However, Bosa is able to knock that hand away, and because of that, he is able to create some contact on Geno Smith. Somehow, DK Metcalf caught that. I don't know how that's possible, but, anyways, the fact that Charles Cross did not get the hand placement he wanted, again, what do you typically do in that situation? Well, ideally, maybe you could have gotten your hands to Bosa a little bit earlier and really been able to knock him far behind Geno Smith, and he did it some. I mean, he did, again, it's not like Smith got clobbered there by Bosa, so he was able to make it happen a little, but maybe you would like to see it happen a little bit more extremely than it happened, where, I mean, it seemed like Bosa, it looked like he made a little bit of contact there. So again, it's Nick Bosa. I'm not going to kill you too much for it, but still. And again, one more example, if you want it, where it's not just Nick Bosa who would make something like this happen. Yes, he's someone who does make that kind of thing happen pretty frequently, but other players were still able to kind of take advantage of a very similar thing. On this play, it's going to be Samson Ebukam, who's going to be the guy who Cross is supposed to be blocking it, and it's going to kind of be a very similar situation. Like, look, right when this play begins, you do see that Cross gets his hands, it's not as bad as some of the other ones, but doesn't get it quite where he wants it to be. But still, for Cross, I mean, if he were to just sort of turn at this point, get that right hand on the hip of Ebukam and push him back behind Geno Smith, you're still in an okay position. But again, these are just not the things that Cross is used to dealing with, because at the at the college level, he pretty much always had the hand placement he wanted and didn't have these issues. So as you see, Ebukam is able to get over there. And again, ball came out before there was a sack, but still, these are kind of little things that Cross can work on, I think. But as a whole, I think that there's definitely plenty of upside with Charles Cross. Like I said, he did not come in and just play a disastrous football or anything. Didn't play great football, didn't look like a number 9 overall pick potentially, but I didn't think he looked bad either, and definitely was, again, he was a starting caliber offensive lineman, a starting caliber left tackle, which to do that as a rookie is certainly impressive. Is it worth a number 9 overall pick? I'll let you be the judge, but it's worth something. I mean, for sure. And guys who play as well as Charles Cross did as a rookie, they tend to get like $10 million a year, if not more, just at that level. And he played this way as a rookie, and I think has definitive things that he can work on and definitive traits he can work on to become better as his career continues to develop. So I'd be optimistic if I was a Seahawks fan about Charles Cross. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of Charles Cross's rookie season? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.